What was it like on the set of Little House on the Prairie? The actress who played Michael Landon's wife says it wasn't as wholesome as it seemed.
You might remember Little House on the Prairie for its bonnets, butter churns, and wholesome frontier life. But there's more to Walnut Grove than meets the eye. Behind the heartfelt stories were bloopers, off-screen drama, and moments that somehow made it past the editors. One scene in particular was so out of place it's hard to believe it aired. From historical goofs to cast rivalries and quirky set secrets, here are 18 surprising facts that'll make you look at the Prairie in a whole new way. Tough topics on the Prairie. Although Little House on the Prairie generally maintained a light-hearted tone, the show bravely tackled serious and controversial topics for its time. Issues such as indecent assault, substance addiction, racism, prejudice, adoption, and disabilities were all explored throughout the series. During an era when most television avoided such sensitive themes, Little House was seen as trailblazing. That was bold storytelling. Now, let's talk about some real-life drama. Cold shoulders behind warm scenes. While Mary and Laura Ingalls appeared close on Little House on the Prairie, the actresses behind the roles, Melissa Sue Anderson and Melissa Gilbert, didn't get along off-screen.
Guess what me and Andrew found?
Where have you been, young lady? You're late.
Huh?
I asked you where you've been.
Well, I was trying to tell you, me and Andrew.
Fact is, you're late.
Their feud began early and lasted the entire 9-year run of the show, creating tension among the cast. Gilbert later described Anderson as cold and bratty in her memoir Prairie Tale. Although the exact cause of their rift remains unknown, their animosity was well known and remained unresolved even after the series ended. Booze and struggles. Behind the wholesome image of Little House on the Prairie was a set plagued by substance abuse. Many cast and crew members struggled with alcohol and other harmful substances, with daily consumption of beer becoming routine. Often 2:30 racks, and on especially stressful days, even more. Michael Landon, in particular, was a heavy drinker, secretly starting his mornings with liquor-spiked coffee and continuing throughout the day. The real faith of Landon. Michael Landon, known for portraying the Christian patriarch Charles Ingalls, was Jewish in real life. Born Eugene Maurice Orowitz, he was raised in New York and New Jersey by a Jewish father and a Catholic mother. Though he culturally identified as Jewish, Landon didn't strictly follow any religion and considered himself a general believer in God. Despite his character's strong Christian messaging, Landon felt no conflict between his background and his on-screen role. Landon's dyed hair. Michael Landon's signature thick, dark curls were not natural, but the result of regular hair dye treatments. His real hair color was a muted ashy brown, and he was meticulous about maintaining his on-screen look with professional stylists. However, as he began to gray, the studio lights and sunlight often caused the dye to take on a strange purplish tint. This issue was so noticeable that producers had to bring in expert colorists to correct it for filming. Family ties beyond the Prairie. On Little House on the Prairie, Willie Olson, played by Jonathan Gilbert, was Nellie's younger brother. But in real life, Jonathan was the adopted brother of Melissa Gilbert, who portrayed Laura Ingalls. Despite their on-screen sibling connection, the two became estranged after the series ended. Jonathan pursued a career in finance, earning an MBA and becoming a stockbroker in New York, while Melissa continued acting and later ventured into politics. Hearts stirred beyond the script. While Little House on the Prairie captivated audiences with its heartwarming themes and rural charm, the off-screen dynamics were just as intriguing. The show's strong cast chemistry fueled rumors of real-life romances, especially since its success stemmed from well-timed storytelling and emotional depth. A potential remake has been discussed but remains stalled. Originally based on Laura Ingalls Wilder's life and books, the series depicted the tough realities of pioneer life. Frenemies and fun behind the scenes.
Did you, like in real life, did the two of you fight the way you did?
She's like terrified. Like, is it a... Yes, no, she's my baby sister. We love her.
Despite their fierce on-screen rivalry, Melissa Gilbert and Allison Arngrim were actually best friends off-set. They shared sleepovers, inside jokes, and mischievous fun during breaks in filming. Allison, along with Steve Tracy, often exaggerated romantic scenes off-camera just to tease Melissa, who was uncomfortable with romance at the time. Their close friendship made their on-screen feuding all the more impressive and hilarious in hindsight. A kiss too real for Gilbert. At just 15 years old, Melissa Gilbert faced discomfort portraying romance on Little House on the Prairie, especially when filming her first on-screen and real-life kiss with 23-year-old Dean Butler, who played Almanzo Wilder. Feeling uneasy, Melissa confided in Michael Landon, her mentor and director, who addressed her concerns with the producers. She later admitted, "I was just 15 and so nervous. It was my first real kiss, not just on camera." They responded with sensitivity, adjusting the scene to a simple peck on the cheek instead of a full kiss. If you thought that kiss was awkward, just wait until you see what came hopping next. Landon, the legendary prankster. Michael Landon, the beloved star and director of Little House on the Prairie, was well known for his playful sense of humor and elaborate pranks on set. Cast members like Melissa Gilbert and Allison Arngrim learned from his antics, once placing saran wrap over a toilet seat. Rachel Greenbush, who played Carrie Ingalls, recalled how Landon would shock others by hiding live frogs in his mouth and then letting them leap out unexpectedly, causing startled laughter and showcasing his lighthearted nature behind the scenes. The bittersweet farewell. Despite its popularity, Little House on the Prairie came to a bittersweet end. Michael Landon, who starred as Charles Ingalls and also directed, wrote, and produced much of the show, was instrumental in its success.
And as for your teeth and eating candy, you wait and see. You're gonna have bad ones in a few years.
I told Nellie her teeth would fall out. She didn't care. She just buy teeth like her mother has.
The series ended after 9 seasons, with the final one rebranded as Little House, A New Beginning. Landon's deep involvement continued through the finale, which he also directed. Tragically, he later died from pancreatic cancer at age 54, leaving behind a powerful legacy and grieving fans. The oddities behind the scenes. Little House on the Prairie featured several strange and amusing inconsistencies. Tree branches appeared rustling outside a window in some episodes, despite no such tree existing in other scenes. A white quilt mysteriously showed up in different characters' beds throughout the series, revealing the reuse of props. Fans also spotted anachronisms like modern bras and 1970s-style perms. One major continuity error involved Albert's fate. He seemingly died in a movie, but later was said to have become a doctor, sparking humorous fan theories. Hairstyles out of their time.
It was like a really great summer camp, but I also got to play the ultimate game of dress up and be in those fantastic clothes and the button-up boots, and I don't remember it ever not being fun.
Despite its historical setting in the 1870s and 1880s, Little House on the Prairie occasionally featured clothing and hairstyles that didn't match the era. Viewers have spotted women wearing bras, an item not invented until 1912, and hairstyles like perms that were popular in the 1970s, not the 19th century. Melissa Gilbert even acknowledged that her long modern hair didn't always suit her character. She admitted, "My hair was way too long and way too 70s." The Prairie Forgot to age. In the series finale titled The Last Farewell, Little House on the Prairie made a major continuity mistake. Set in 1901, the episode showed characters looking nearly the same as they had years earlier, despite over a decade supposedly having passed. Children like Carrie, Jenny, and James should have been young adults, and Charles Ingalls, who died in 1902 in real life, should have appeared much older. Yet, time seemed frozen, making it a jarring inconsistency for attentive fans. Landon's pain before the fame. Michael Landon, born Eugene Maurice. Orowitz in 1936 had a difficult childhood marked by emotional trauma. Growing up in New Jersey, he lived in fear of his mother's repeated attempts to end her own life, including one incident where she tried to drown herself, and he saved her. Landon later recalled, "I pulled her out and saved her life. I lived with the fear that she might try again." Despite these early hardships, Landon eventually found success in Hollywood. The Prairie's most prosperous star. Among the Little House on the Prairie cast, Michael Landon became the wealthiest. At the time of his death in 1991, his net worth was estimated at over $1 million, and he reportedly left $8 to $10 million to each of his 9 children. His son, Michael Landon Jr., also found success as a producer and director, while other stars like Melissa Gilbert and Karen Grassel had modest net worths. Minnesota's most famous fictional town. Walnut Grove, the fictional setting of Little House on the Prairie, is actually a real town in Minnesota. Laura Ingalls Wilder, whose books inspired the series, lived there during part of her childhood. Located in Redwood County, Walnut Grove was founded in 1874 and incorporated in 1879. Though the town played only a part in Wilder's broader life story, it remains iconic thanks to the series. Just when you think it's all accurate, the top one on the list throws history out the window. When history met hilarious mistakes. Little House on the Prairie had its share of hilarious bloopers that fans still talk about. One standout is Laura's oddly long pregnancy, which lasted over a year on screen. Another infamous moment is the appearance of Colonel Sanders in a storyline set decades before his birth. In a dramatic scene from The Odyssey, a dummy clearly replaces a character being thrown off a train. These amusing mistakes, along with playful pranks from the cast, added charm behind the heartfelt drama. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed uncovering the secrets and surprises behind Little House on the Prairie, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment with your favorite blooper or fact, and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes stories. And don't go anywhere. Click the next video on your screen for more fascinating TV throwbacks you won't want to miss.